as M. Night Shyamalan's 2010 movie The Last Airbender was roundly panned by fans and critics. Not many people were surprised that a once-talked-about sequel never materialized. The movie went off on a tangent unrecognizable to the miniseries it was based on, and Shyamalan was roundly criticized for his choices. Today, we are discussing the ins and outs of why The Last Airbender 2 was never given the go-ahead. Stay with us. Let's get straight into it then. What were the real reasons behind the lack of a sequel to The Last Airbender? When adapting any source material into a movie, there's always a risk that it won't be done correctly. And given the reviews Shyamalan's 2010 movie The Last Airbender received, there was little to no chance Nickelodeon or Paramount were going to sanction a sequel. It was a shame the movie turned out the way it did, as the original animated series it was based on, Avatar: The Last Airbender, was extremely popular. Fans would probably have expected that, even if the movie was mediocre, there would probably still have been a follow-up movie. That didn't materialize, however, as it failed to live up to the 2005 animated series. Had it stuck to the themes which we saw in the mid-2000 series, it would almost certainly have been a hit. Alas, it wasn't to be. When it dropped in the summer of 2010, big things were expected, but while The Tale of Aang was beautifully brought to the small screen back in 2005, M. Night Shyamalan's film version has since been considered the worst movie he's ever made, and as such, there is no sign of a sequel to the movie, which starred Noah Ringer, Dev Patel, and Nicola Peltz. The movie flopped pretty hard and barely made its budget back at the box office. For that reason, the powers that be were understandably unwilling to risk any more capital on the franchise. What did you guys think of The Last Airbender? And what else do we know then? Stick around. Well, Shyamalan was widely criticized for the effort. As many people suggested, he should have just stuck to the tried and tested methods which saw the 2005 miniseries gain so much popularity. The 2010 movie was a huge disappointment for fans and everyone involved in making the film, as well as producers, and those in charge of casting also came in for criticism after casting white actors in non-white roles. The issue even led to a boycott of the movie, which will have done absolutely nothing for its popularity. The film was also criticized for being largely inaccessible for those who had not watched the miniseries. It was roundly castigated for being too difficult to follow and relying too heavily on having watched the 2005 show before heading to the theater for this one. All of these factors combined for the perfect storm to make sure The Last Airbender 2 never sees the light of day. It was much easier for most people to stomach after seeing how Shyamalan butchered the first movie, however. But who knows? With someone else in charge, the sequel could see the light of day somewhere down the line. But don't count on it, due to the disastrous box office performance of the first movie. What is probably much more likely is a complete overhaul of what has come before, and a full reboot of The Last Airbender with a completely new team at the helm. Would you guys be down for something like that? Next up, some surprising Shyamalan news. Stay tuned. Of course, M. Night Shyamalan shouldn't be judged for one dud, as he has a whole catalog of excellent work. I mean, Signs, anyone? But you might be surprised to learn that Night also had a hand in writing a huge 90s cult classic, one with a slightly different tone than the movies you might associate with Shyamalan. She's All That. Surprised? We were too. The teen rom-com starring Freddie Prinze Jr. and Rachel Lee Cook dropped in 1999, incidentally the same year as another Night mega hit, The Sixth Sense. When speaking about a movie he ghost wrote a few years back, he had serious reservations about revealing which 90s film he had been involved with, but did go on to confirm that it was She's All That. Of course, if you check Wikipedia or Rotten Tomatoes, R. Lee Fleming Jr. is credited with writing the script, but it is actually Night's rewrite which got the movie greenlit by the studio. He has been quoted as saying his writing process is strangely creatively monogamous, and had seriously considered the outcome of Cook and Prince Jr.'s characters kissing and what it would do for the story. Explaining his process for accepting or rejecting writing roles, the legendary director said, "I guess in the history of things, when they're considering a movie or offering me a movie, I'm immediately saying yes or no, and if it's a yes, it's a yes, right now, let's go. It isn't a let's see or let's hoard it." We're discussing Night's next project next. Stay with us. Next year we'll see the release of the first Shyamalan movie since last year's Old. Knock at the Cabin will feature Dave Bautista in the lead as Leonard, with Harry Potter star Rupert Grint playing Redmond. Nikki Amuka Bird, Ben Aldridge, Jonathan Groff, and Abby Quinn will drop by for this one. The movie is reportedly an adaptation of Paul Tremblay's The Cabin at the End of the World, and if the title is anything to go by, it seems as though they have the right man at the helm to guide this one. I mean, there are few better at bringing the horror genre to the big screen than Night. There is no official synopsis synopsis for the movie right now, but the book follows Wen and her parents, Eric and Andrew, when strangers turn up at their lake cabin with menacing objects in their hands. The family is forced into helping them save the world. So we will have to see what Knight does with this one. Knight himself has suggested that the movie will drop early next year, telling everyone who will listen that it will be released February 3rd, 2023, or 2/3/23 in Knight speak. Will you guys be heading to the theater to see this one? Give us your thoughts below. Some concerning news about The Last Airbender star Dev Patel next. Stick around. Earlier this summer, Patel, who is better known for starring in movies such as Slumdog Millionaire and Hotel Mumbai, turned hero after breaking up a knife fight in Australia. Patel was in Adelaide when he stumbled upon a man and woman arguing in the street. The man was later stabbed in the chest in a convenience store before Dev jumped in and disarmed the attacker. His representative said, "We can confirm that last night in Adelaide, Dev Patel and his friends witnessed a violent altercation that was already in progress outside of a convenience store," before going on to explain that the star had acted on his natural instinct to try and de-escalate the situation. Dev and his group managed to calm things down before calling the police and ambulance service to report the attack. A 32-year-old man was treated for knife wounds at the scene, and he is expected to survive the injury. Following the incident, Patel's team went on to suggest that because of the attention the case has received, thanks to Dev being a movie star, they hope lawmakers will find long-term solutions to tackle knife crime. What do you guys make of this one? Pretty crazy, right? And finally, a look at a Knight classic 20 years on. This might make you guys feel old. Signs: the M. Night Shyamalan Alien Invasion classic is 20 years old. A fresh-faced Joaquin Phoenix and Mel Gibson star as a pair of brothers who must save themselves and Gibson's character's kids from invading alien forces, who are hell-bent on harvesting the planet for their own benefit. They finally figure out that the aliens don't like water, using the plentiful substance against them. Many have suggested that Knight's 2002 classic was overrated, but plenty more actually think it's underrated. Us for starters. It was the first film Knight made after The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, and was filled with suspense from start to finish. Speaking about the inspiration for the film years later, Knight said, "Signs came from two ideas. One was a family finds a crop circle in their backyard, and then a kind of end-of-the-world movie, a la Night of the Living Dead, where it's from the perspective of a house. The film still has a huge impact on viewers, and although everyone knows what's coming, the characters are what keeps people glued to the TV. Gibson's Graham looks at how people can lose faith in what they have believed in for so long, but it's Shyamalan's use of Hitchcock-esque suspense that makes this one so great. What is the best movie in Knight's back catalog for you guys? Let us know below. As usual, thanks for dropping in on us today, and remember to tune in again next time when we will be discussing all sorts of other cool bits and pieces. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Bye guys!